Hi guys, it's Music on Fire 10. So I'm back with a book review of one of the most exciting books I've read this summer. It's called One Night Stand and it's by Kendall Banks. This was a book that I happened to come across one day when I was at the library doing some research for the book that I'm writing. And, the title and the cover definitely screamed out at me because there is a black woman on the front. So I'm reading as many books by black authors as I can, just forever. I've been so starved for fiction just being in medical school. So basically, the reason I like this book is because it's so different. It's written from the perspective of a schizophrenic woman. She also happens to be the antagonist of the story. So when's the last time you read a book that's from the perspective of the antagonist or the villain of the story? I've never read a book like that. And I definitely haven't read anything about a person who's schizophrenic, let alone a black schizophrenic person. So people who suffer from schizophrenia have an alternate version of reality. They see things completely different from what's actually going on. So, for example, Zaria is a school teacher. She has a roommate named Milan who's incredibly beautiful, but so is Zaria. They're both very beautiful women described in this book. And she feels that Zaria is constantly out to get her. She feels that pretty much everyone is out to get her. When she meets a man, Gerald Hardy, she feels that he's the love of her life simply because they went out once. And she lets him know that pretty much like he is going to be her man. This man is an incredibly awful player, and he's married, and has a son, and he's a teacher. So he's like pretty much like an awful human being. And he just kind of goes around playing with women's hearts and bodies just at will, even though he is married with a child. And so he comes across Zaria. So it just really illustrates the fact that you have to be careful in the choices that you make. Gerald knew that what he was doing was wrong, being with all these women even though he was married. He was told this many times by his friends, everyone. He knew in his heart that it wasn't right. But when he meets Zaria, his entire world changes because she truly believes that he's the man for her and they're going to be together regardless of whatever else is happening. And his entire world changes for the worse. So I want you to read this book to find out how. Another thing that happens in the book that we don't talk about a lot, that is not usually touched upon in fiction books, especially romance novels, because the books are usually written from like a fantasized perspective. Everybody in there is beautiful and rich. This woman, like I said, has schizophrenia. She was also severely abused as a child by her father, who also suffers from schizophrenia. Not very much talked about in fiction at all. This book, to me, is just so unique and different, and that's really important to me. It kept me reading because I didn't know what was going to happen next. I had no idea that, the reason Zaria was the way she was because of several things that happened in her life, several choices that people made. So choices that people made who were supposed to be taking care of Zaria, that turned her into the monster that she became. And it was the same thing with Gerald's family. I mean, his family was beautiful. It was something that he was, should have been grateful to have, but because of the decisions that he made, he ran across Zaria, who basically turned his world upside down. So this book, 11 out of 10, One Night Stand by Kendall Banks. I will warn you, I had no problem with it. There is a lot of profanity in the book, and there's a lot of violence, but it's so good, and it just really makes you think about choices and decisions you make in your life. So check this book out. There are also some blurbs in the back from people who come from the same publishing company as Kendall Banks. I haven't read that yet, so I don't know what those books are about, but they're probably just as good or better. Books are supposed to make you think. This one definitely did. Makes me want to get more involved in the mental health community, seeing what I can do to help as a new naturopathic doctor. So just think about that. Now for my shameless plug for my own book. So of course you all know I'm writing a book as well. It's going to be about natural hair from the perspective of a naturopathic doctor, a professional woman. I'm also doing a hair challenge. If you want to know anything about any of that, let me know. And I will see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.